So this week I wanted to actually just like focus on specific hangs and what you can do in the hangs. So we're gonna use Jazzy, who's been doing low hangs all morning already. So I'm going to have her come down onto the floor and literally jump straight into front hip hang. And it's really just to see how similar it actually is. So when she first goes into this front hip hang, I'm gonna have her go down on her elbows, and you can see her toes are tucked underneath. And this is a really lovely position, and she's gonna rock her hips from side to side with her heels. This is like the nicest feeling, hey Jazzy. And then before we go into the actual hang itself, we're gonna do a little bit of strength work. So she's gonna grab the bands just like she would a dolphin. And this is actually quite low. So this is mid-shin height for her. And you can see she's here. She can hold her back straight up. And we can do the hip release by doing open and closing of the legs. Flutter kicks. And actually a really safe balance because she can have a little tap to the floor if she needed it, which she probably doesn't. So we're gonna go over now into the side hang. And you can see the position with this is really great for being on the elbow. And we've had a few plays with this because you're getting that really lovely little release in the pressure point here. I find running, yes, definitely, as we know we all love. Not quite so daunting, and no problem with moving around on the floor, swinging around. And then the other one is tapping from heel to toe with a flex foot, and that will really utilize the pressure point. So you'll go from pressure point release to activation, pressure point release to activation. And so obviously you would also do this on the other side. She can take her hand off and do a little balance. And I just want to take note of this, especially with Jazzy, who's quite flexible. You can see in this position a common correction would be for her to lift her rib cage up to keep the spine in line. And if she swaps over to the other side, you can actually see the spine a little bit clearer. So she drops her rib cage down, it really arcs, and then you can lift the rib cage up to get that nice spinal line and strength within her shoulders. So from here, we're gonna go back into the front hip hang, just go straight down. And this relaxing down, turning the head to one side and then the other, amazing neck stretch and beautiful neck release. She actually really loves this. I'll just let her hang in that for a sec. And we're gonna actually just transition into back hip hang, which isn't too complicated. So if you did that hang first or from the side, she's just gonna pull over and go right into back hip hang. Lock her legs around, and then of course she's gonna get this really nice neck stretch. Now what I love about the back hip hang here on the low hang is when she releases one leg into pigeon, she can start with it straight, and this leg can also go straight up the band. And this is quite an intense hip release. And obviously she's quite flexible, and even Jazzy can get a really nice hip release in this position. You can bend the back leg, just rest it on the floor. And we'll swap over legs just so that you can see the close leg and what that line looks like. And that's straight. Obviously her range is probably much more than an average person. And then we're gonna bring it around. Now I think this is the cool part. If you're doing strength work as well, which of course you can, she's gonna climb up to diamond. So climbing up to diamond, exactly the same. Here she is. And she can also do her lifts. Good little strength. Now we've done some really advanced work, which you're probably not gonna be doing with your people, like the back flip and the front flip, all can be managed from this hang. But you could, of course, just lower yourself back down, or the question, can you do a roll down? And the answer is yes. So she's gonna do a little roll down. Yeah, sure. And you can see it allows her to go, and she ends up in exactly the same position. Really soft, really comfortable, not quite so scary. Now you can take the 2 feet off and allow yourself to sort of experience a bit of a back bend, sort of a supportive back bend. You'll notice that Jazzy likes it in a specific place. Each person will be different. You can do a little wiggle to achieve that. And from here, you could release down to the ankle or to the knees. And this is an awesome lower back release. Little rock and down to the ankle. Now, just while we're here for a quick second, I just want to go through that you can do your lifts, all of this work with your pull-ins. All of this is exactly the same. It's just not quite as intense because the legs, of course, are lower. And then that lovely rock side to side. And just because we're here and we have the opportunity to show you this, we're going to flip around like we would in a full hang over onto the knee and onto the elbows. So into this position, this is really different. So when she puts her 2 feet in, what Jazzy has expressed to me is that the upper abdominal engagement becomes quite intense in this position. As you see, she comes into her tuck positions. It's different because your legs are low. And she can pike as well. Right? And let's bring that knee out and have a little chance try at some cat-cows. So the range would be lower. She could go high. Yeah. But again, a good little starter point. So let's come all the way out of that. So we've done front hip hang and back hip hang. And I want to now just jump over to mountain pose because I think this is actually really cool. You can do just about everything in mountain pose. So she's going to climb up. Amazing. Of course, you could do all of the plank work that you would normally do here. Yeah, you can do one. Right? Not quite so scary. And then she's going to come down into her cobbler position. And this is really nice. And what we found in this position looks lovely. And then just show the alternate position with your feet forward so you get that piriformis stretch in the hips. Is going in and out of the inversion as a half inversion really nice and not so scary for people. So you can see when she holds right here, she can do a little hip rock. And she can go right down to her elbows. Also really nice. So what I think is great about this is coming up is not as difficult. So she raises up onto her arms, grabs the bands, and pushes her hips back. It's quite comfortable transition. And we know that can be a really difficult one. So it's much safer. You don't have to worry so much about them flying through the other side. And she can just push out. So we're going to go into chair. Beautiful. Now I will say that in the chair position, you can have a play with your low hammock. Some people like them knee height, in which case you can do just about any shoulder stand inversion. This one is a little bit lower, mid-shin, and you can just have a little play around. So in this position of the chair, I'm going to have the same thing. She can go in. Actually, before she does this, we're going to do a little leg lift. And you can see, obviously, from the position of that activation, very difficult. Very, very difficult. And then let's go into that side plank. So dropping that right elbow down. Now the position of the band, not like front hip hang, is just below the head of the greater trochanter. So you're really getting into that ITB release. She can do her little run, which I know she's loving. And if it was knee height, she could pigeon really nicely, but it's really difficult in this mid-shin height. So I'm not even going to bother explaining that to you. So, and of course, you could flip over to the other side. And you can see it's really easy to manage. It's really easy to maneuver. and manipulate yourself in this hammock. And it does definitely create trust for the client that might be really nervous about managing. And then the last thing that I want to show you is cocoon. So coming right out, we're going to open that up. Oh, you know what? Actually, before we do cocoon, let's just show you corpse. So come up into your mountain pose, because this again is a really great way to introduce corpse. So if you were working privately with a client and wanting to get these tricks and postures down for them before they went into a group environment, really safe way. So she can tuck in and press out. Awesome. And then go to the other side. And you can see like her position, just hold right there, Jessie. Her position is exactly the same, right? Which is quite nice. Go down. Amazing. So let's now jump over into the cocoon. And we're going to do that kind of little stretch series. So we've had a few different plays of getting in and out of this. And we actually find that, yeah, just sitting down and bringing your leg over is the easiest. It's a little bit difficult when you're working with Jessie because she's quite flexible. So what's easy for her is not easy for everyone. And we're going to bring her feet right inside. So I find that sitting position, which she just showed, almost uncomfortable in a low hang. Whereas jumping straight into this, really lovely. Yeah, no, that's fine. And then you can see she can close her legs, pull her knees towards her and open, do all of this work, right? And then just hold into that cobbler position. So bringing in, yeah, that Padkonasana, holding on, really lovely. And just like you would do in a full hang, bringing the feet inside the hammock for that stretch session. Lovely, right? Hands come around. Really beautiful. Now, just because we're here, I'm going to show you something, and I will say that this particular hang, which is mid-shin, is a little bit low for this demonstration. It should be knee height, but because we have Jessie, I know she can do it, and that is the shoulder stand and inversion. So she's going to lie down into her cocoon. Awesome. And she's going to bypass, because we are so low today, she's going to bypass the shoulder stand and go straight into the inversion. And you can see this work is perfect and easy. So let's roll all the way back in, Jessie. And at the same time, I'm going to have her do the open and close. If you just bring your feet so that your toes are poking out. And we could do that entire ab workout where she's opening and closing. One more of those. Yeah, exactly. With a slight contraction. For our Pilates people, you could do your hundreds. Yeah, exactly. And you could pike up a little bit, just pike up. And even the tuck up, Jessie, where you tuck up and grab your shins and look outside, and then go back out into a Superman, arms over your head, and then one more time, right? It's quite intense. And then, of course, just hanging down. Now, even in this position, she could release that to her lower back and again, just put down on the floor and get that. It's nice, she said, right? So that's really great. And then climb back inside into your cocoon. You can just rest. So you can see it's really quite similar. I think one of the main things that everybody always says to me is they're so surprised that you can basically do absolutely everything that you could in a regular hang. So it's the extension of range of, because we did the leg work in the last session, you can see that even that little bit of height can sometimes even extend your stretching beyond what you would normally. Is there anything that you wanted me to go through, Gina? Or Sue?
No.
Did that give you some ideas?
Yeah, I love how you went from front hip hang straight into back hip hang, actually. That was really cool.
Yeah, the
I
transitions.
to do that.
Yeah, the transitions. And you know, I think it's like any class where the transitions are really what helps you try to keep as smooth as possible. And those neck stretches are amazing. And I do love, if you want to just lay down on the ground, I know we did show this last week, but I have clients that even are just coming in for fascial therapy. And if I have the low hang there, they'll quickly come in and do this. Like, oh, can I just do this for one quick second? Because it's just so lovely. Good little release, right? So I find them really, really beneficial, not just for your clients that might be working with something specific or trust issues, newbies, but even for your more advanced clients that literally just want to try something else. And the other purpose for low hangs, which we haven't really talked about yet, is studio environments with very low ceilings. So I have one of my former clients is now former instructors is now running classes in her home, and she has a very low ceiling and she can only do low hangs. That allows her to do the complete range of class. And sometimes she'll do one or two that are a little bit higher just for an inversion, but she doesn't have the height to allow for like mountain pose and that sort of thing. So for that purpose, it's great. She literally has a low hang studio, which is amazing. Yeah. Thank you, Jazzy.
Thank you, Jazzy.
And so how have you gone, Gina, with your trauma conversations?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Well, last week you were talking about how do you open up the conversation for being trauma informed on your particular client?
Yeah, I haven't had that client.
Oh, you haven't had that one yet?
Ended up having that client, no.
Okay, great.
So,
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Well, let us know how you go when that comes through, right? Yeah, but I do feel that this working with those low hangs also allows you to really gain a rapport with those clients that are struggling a little bit more without them adding on the complication of being so scared. Yeah, definitely, definitely. So that's your low hangs, ladies. That's today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I hope you both get a chance to have a little play with some of those and see what your favorite positions are. I'd love to hear back some feedback.
I can't wait to try the ITV.
I was playing it cool, but it was pretty painful.
And we made her do it several times today already, yeah. So I'm sure she's feeling very released. Get those pressure points. Yeah, she'll definitely be feel like hit by a Mack truck. You're welcome, ladies, and I hope that you have a great week.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you for joining. I'll see you later. Bye.